Hello friends, welcome to TechnoGeek SFDC. In today's video, we are going to see some of the important features which is coming as part of Spring 25 Salesforce release. So these features will be related to Salesforce flows, or we all know it as a normal automation flows. So let's start with some of the very basic features which we can expect as part of Spring 25. So there are a lot of features, but we will try to cover what are the most important features which is going to be helpful for you in your day-to-day activity. So let's start with some of the screen flow or the screen flow related updates. So let me quickly start creating a screen flow. Okay, so first update which I wanted you all to let to know that now going forward, whenever we are going to use the get record element in flows, we will have an option to put a limit or the number of records, maximum number of records which we want to fetch as part of that particular get record element. So for example, let's say I'm giving demo, I'll just give it as account. Okay, and I'll put it as name equals, I'll just put it as test. Okay, so some hard-coded value I'm giving here, and then you have earlier we used to only get two options here in how many records to store. Earlier we used to get only two options, only the first record or all records. But now going forward, we have something called all records up to specific limit. So here I can give how many records I want as part of this particular get record element. What is the maximum number of records I can expect? Okay, this is similar to your limit clause in the SOQL query. So I can give here like 20, or I can give it as 2, or I can give it as 10. So let's say if I'm giving it as 10, and when I will execute this get element, so let's say if I'm getting 30 records as part of this query, but only top 10 records will be stored in this element and you will be able to use it. So this is our first feature which came as part of Spring 25 in Lightning Flows. Next is we have or you can say there was a very long pending feature in flows, that also in the send email element, that we were not able to put any attachments into it. Okay, but let me just quickly remove it, or I'll just delete this element. Okay, but now going forward, let's say if I'm putting an action, and in action I'm giving email. Okay, so in send email, now going forward I will be having another option, that is attachment ID. So this attachment ID is going to be basically it is going to be your content version ID which you can put it here. Okay, so attachment ID is the new feature which has been added as part of send email. So as you can see, it's an optional field where you can put in the form of comma as well. So let's say if you want to send more than one attachment, then you can put the attachment IDs in the form of comma separated version, and the email which you will receive, which will be triggered from the flow which the end user will receive, will have the attachments into it. So this attachment ID, what you have to put here, it has to be the content version ID. So let's say when we upload the files in when we upload any PDF or anything in the files, and we want to send that as an attachment in the emails, that's where our this new option is going to be helpful, where I have the attachment ID and I can directly put the attachment. I can maybe use a get record element, or I can use an apex to get the multiple attachment IDs or single attachment IDs based on your criteria, and you can pass it as a parameter into this attachment ID, and the send email action will automatically take up the actual document from backend, and it will send in the email as a copy. Okay, so this is what our second enhancement or second feature which is coming as part of Spring 25. This was not available earlier, but now this has become GA, or generally available as part of Spring 25, which we can expect. So this was our feature number 2 which we can expect as part of Spring 25. Now, the third feature, or the next very important feature which came as part of Spring 25, it is still in the beta phase, but this feature is automatically triggered screen actions. Okay, so what does it actually means? That earlier, so let's take an example to understand this in more detail. So for example, let's say I have a requirement where I need to, show the list of contacts associated with an account. So what we do is we create a text box, we put a data table, and whenever user will provide the account name in the text box, they need to click on a fetch button or any button, and then which automatically calls an auto launch flows in backend, and it will get the list of contacts and it will show on the UI. Okay, this was the earlier process what used to have. But with this automatically triggered screen actions, now you can configure an auto launch flows which will automatically gets fired whenever there is a change in the value of the in or whenever there is a change in the input value of the screen action. So let's see it actually on the UI how it looks. Okay, so for example, I have created the screen flow. Okay, now when I go on the screen flow, whenever I create it, I have something called select screen action. Okay, in this you can only select the auto launch flows. Screen flows you cannot select, you have to select an auto launch flows. Okay, now once you select an auto launch flows, okay, you have an option to set input values like so for example, I created this auto launch flow where I have a variable that is account ID, which is of type available for input. This means I can get the value from outside in this variable. Okay, and then what I'm doing, I'm just fetching the contact and storing the contact in a record list. Okay, with some variable like first name, last name, email. I'm storing the variable and then I'm sending it outside of this flow. Okay, now when I selected this auto launch flows, I got an option to set the input value. Okay, so this input value I'm setting it as account underscore ID. That is the API name of this text box. Okay, I'm just setting the API name of this text box. So what this will do, that whenever there is a change in the value of this text box, that is account ID, okay, it will automatically fire this screen action because there is a change in the value of the variable which I'm passing, right? So it will automatically fire this action, passing the account ID value which I have given in the UI, and then it will get me the result, or it will fetch me the list of contact. Okay, so this is what the screen action is going to do. It will automatically fire whenever there is a change in the input value. Okay, it is more of, you can say it is more of a wire method in LWC what we have, right, which automatically gets fired whenever you make any change in the variable which has been passed as parameter. Same concept here also, that these actions or these auto launch flows will get fired whenever there is a change in the value or change in the input value. Okay, so this is how we basically set it up. Okay, that you can just select the auto launch flow, you can set the input value, and then let's say I have created a data table here. What I am doing is I am just using the fetch contact results and the contact list. So this is basically where I am fetching the contact list which I got from my auto launch flows. Okay, and then I am showing it in the data table. Okay, so this is a simple example which I have put it here. Now let's try to debug this and we will see how this is going to behave. So let's say I'm going to just give an account ID here. Okay. You can see as soon as I gave the account ID, instead of, clicking somewhere outside the box or, clicking on any kind of button, it automatically fetched the list of contacts and showing it on the UI. Now, let me just see if what happens if I change the ID. I'll just take this ID and I'll change it. So as soon as I change the ID, you can see that the list of contact got refreshed automatically and it is showing. So this is what the beauty of screen actions or automatically triggered screen actions, where you don't need to click on any button to get the records or to do the business logic. Instead, it will automatically happen. Basically, your auto launch flows will automatically get triggered whenever there is a change in the input value or change in the value which you are giving it as an input. So this is This feature is still in beta phase, but I'm sure this is going to be very important feature going forward whenever Salesforce is going to make it as a generally available, because this was a very long awaited feature, and this feature is going to be you can say very useful whenever we are going to create the responsive screens. As you know that Salesforce is bringing a lot of features related to responsive screens, so this feature is also going to be very much helpful there. Now, the next feature, or you can say the fourth feature, which Spring 25 has brought in for our flows, is that now you can see the immediate feedback from the component if the value is invalid. So, what does it mean actually? Okay, so for example, let's say I have again the same use case where I have the account ID. Okay, I have this text box that is account ID. Now, earlier, whenever I used to put the value, and till the time I was not clicking outside of the box. For example, let's say account ID should be at least of 3 characters. So less than 3 characters, we should see an error message. Okay, let's say this is the requirement. Now, earlier, whenever I used to enter the value, and till the time I'm not clicking outside of the box, I was not getting the error message, right? But with this feature going forward, as soon as you will start typing, it will automatically evaluate the length of the length, and then it will show the error message if there is any. Okay, so how this happens? So for this, let's say I am using an account ID. What I'll be doing here is I'll put a validate input. Okay, in validate input, let's say I'm giving length account ID is greater than 3. Okay, so this means that until unless the length of account ID is less than 3, it will return me false. Okay, and whenever false will be returned, I will be seeing an error message. So what error message I put here is that text length should be more than 3 characters. Okay, now this is the normal way of how we used to put the validation on the input value. Okay, but let's see it in the running, that how the behavior has been changed. Okay, so let's say I'm coming here, I will put, as soon as I am just putting test. Okay, so this is still less than 3 characters, and you can see that as soon as I started typing, the error message started coming here. Okay, similarly, if I'm giving testing, the error message went away. So same way, if I'm coming back, if it is less than 3 characters, till the time it is less than 3 characters, it is showing me the error message. Okay, so this is what we call it as immediate feedback for the invalid values. That is, earlier I used to give the yes and then click outside of the box, then I used to see the error message. But going forward, this is not the case. This is going to be completely runtime, where as soon as you will start entering the values, you will be able to see the error message on the UI. So this is what our feature number 4, which we have got as part of Spring 25. Now let's see what feature number 5 has got us. So as part of feature number 5, Salesforce has provided a inbuilt visual progress indicator. Okay, or what inbuilt visual progress indicator is? It is a kind of path which we can see on the flow. So what does it mean? So for example, or let me just quickly create a stage resource. Okay, then once we will see it on the UI, then we will be able to see it more, will able to understand it more clearly. Okay, so label I will just put it as step 1, order I will keep it as 1. Now, as you can see, there is a path element which has came up here. Okay, that is on the top. So this is now going to be a inbuilt path indicator which Salesforce has provided. So now you don't need to create any custom path or custom component to show this path indicator. Instead, Salesforce is providing you an inbuilt path here. Okay, so for example, I have just put it as done. Now I will copy element and I'll just paste it here. Okay. So what I want to do here is I'll just add couple of more fields into it. Okay. So I'll just put another stage resource. Let's say I'll give it as step 2 and order number 2. Done. Okay. And let's say I'll give the name here as contact name, and I'll keep it as done. And then I'll just copy element again, I will put it here. So now I'll just try to put it as address. So let's say I'll put it an address field here, and then I'll put API name as contact address. Screen, I'll give it as new step. Okay, I'll give it as step 3. Order, I'll give it as 3. Done. Okay, now let me quickly save it and show you so that once you will be able to see on the UI, you will understand what path I'm talking about. So as you can see, I'm getting a path here. Let's say account ID, I'm giving something as testing. And when I'll click on next, you can see that now I'm going to get a path on the UIs. Okay, automatic path, that is I was on the step 1. Now I came on the step 2. Let's say contact name, I'll give it as demo contact. And you can see now I'm on the step 3. So this step indicators or the path indicators has been provided as an out of the box feature by the Salesforce. Now there is one more thing I want to show, that let's say I'm not satisfied with this dot dot thing. I want a path actually. So we have couple of options for the progress indicator. That is when you come on the setting, you first, if you want to show the progress indicator, the checkbox should be checked. That is show a progress indicator on the screen element. And then next you can select the type of progress indicator what you are looking for. Like I can select a path also, or I can select a simple top on the screen. So simple top on the screen will show me dotted ones, and if I select a path, it will show me the path. So let me just quickly select a path, save it, and then I will try to debug. So now as you can see, I am getting step 1 instead. The So it will show me in the format of a path. You can see the step 1 has been completed. Now I'm on step 2, demo 2, and then I can see the step 3 and demo 3, right? So this is what the progress indicator which Salesforce has provided as an out of the box. So this is our feature number 5 as part of Salesforce flows, which is going to come in the spring 25. So now let's take a look into feature number 6, which Salesforce has provided in Salesforce flows. Okay, so you remember we had a transform element where we can transform the data from one form into another form, right? For example, let's say if I'm getting a JSON data, I can take the JSON data and directly transform it into a S object, or maybe a Apex defined data type like wrapper object, or like that. We had the transform elements which Salesforce has provided quite a long back. Okay, I have created a detailed video on that. If you want, you can just have a look. A link will be flashing somewhere on the top. So what Salesforce brought as part of transform element in this release? So in this release going forward, now you can combine two data sources and you can club them together to make one target source. What does it mean basically? Okay, so let's take an example to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's say I have contact, I have a account. Okay, so as we all know that contacts are associated with account via account ID. Okay, but let's say my requirement is that I need, at the end I need a list of classes, or a list of wrapper records where I need to basically show some information regarding contact and some information regarding its associated account, like rating, name, and all that stuff. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to combine two data sources, that is contact and account, in a single view. Okay, in a single wrapper record. So this feature has been provided by transform element in this release. Okay, as part of spring 25, now you can have two data sources. Okay, so as you can see, I have created two record list variable, that is account list, contact list. Okay, these two I have created, and then I just use a get element to get the data. right? Now, in the source part, what I have done, I have selected both the a list, okay, that is contact list as well as account list. I have selected here as a source data. Now, my target data, what I'm doing in the target data, so I have created a Apex class, okay. So basically, we are defining a Apex type, Apex data type, target data. Okay, so I have created an Apex class with Aura enabled. The class name is person complete data. So let me just quickly show you that. Okay, so this is my Apex class which I have created. So if you can see, I'm basically combining the account and contact information in a single wrapper record. Basically, I'm taking first name, last name, and then account name and account rating. So these are some of the information I'm taking. Okay, but here if you see, I have two separate data sources. Account is separate, contact is separate. Correct? So how I can club them together to create a unified data, or you can say create a combined data. Okay, so for that, what I have done, I have used the transform. I have selected the source data as my both list, and then I am combining them by using the joins. Okay, so basically when you basically when you try to connect ACC list with target data and also contact list with target data, you will see a new UI something like this. Okay, where basically you are joining two data sources. Now, what all different types of things we have here? So let's say when I'm joining two data sources, it will ask me what type of join I'm trying to do. Okay, so in my case, I have used the inner join. Okay, now as you can see, left source is my account list, right source is contact list. Okay, so there has to be one unique key between both so that you can tell that, okay, this contact is related to this account. Okay, in that way only we can do the joins, right? So this is where we have to use the account ID. On contact, I have account ID which I will map with the actual Salesforce account ID. So you can see that left source collection, I have selected the account ID, and right source collections I have selected the account ID, the variable name, okay, from the contact. Now what it did, it basically joined the two data sources based on this configuration, that is ID equals account ID. Okay, now next is you need to select the fields. So now you will see two data sources here, that is account list as well as contact list. Now you can select what all fields you want, because right now it will be giving you all the fields. Okay, so you can select what all fields are required for you to create the required outcome. Okay, so you can just select the fields here. For example, I have selected name, I have selected rating. Similarly, if you scroll down, I have the contact list type as well. I have selected first name and last name. Okay. Once I select these two fields, next is we need to do the mapping. Okay. So once you click on edit joint, then you can see that in the source field, I have name, which I want to map it to target account name field, account name variable. Okay. Similarly, rating I can map to account rating. First name I can map to account. Um, I can map it to first name, and then last name I can map to account last name. So this is how we will be doing the mapping. If you have more variables, you will be seeing more variables into this. So this list will keep on expanding. Once you have completed your mapping, you can just click on set mapping, and then your mapping will be set. And you can see that your mapped target collection is whatever the Apex class I have created, that is my target. So my input is two data type, and then I am combining them together to basically create an output which is of Apex defined data type. Okay, which is a wrapper record basically, in short, if I tell. Okay, so this is how we have done the settings. Okay, we have done the settings, and then we have done the mappings and everything. Now let's try to run it, and we'll see how the end product, you will see what is the expected outcome. Let me debug. Sorry. So as soon as I did the debug, what you can do, what you can see here, you can see a list of record, okay, list of person complete data where I have last name with some value, first name with some value, account rating I'm getting code, and account name I'm getting. Similarly, I'm getting list of, so this is a list of record. Okay, so this is what the new feature as part of transform element which Salesforce has provided. That is where you can combine two data sources together, and then you can create an outcome out of that, okay, like the one which you are seeing in the wrapper class. So this was one use case I have shown you. Similarly, there can be multiple other use cases where, let's say, you have one data source in the Salesforce and another data source you are getting it from a integration. Okay, so you can combine these two together as well and create records or do your business logic. So this is also one of the use case. So with this, we will wrap up today's video. I hope you liked the video and you found it informative. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and also circulate among your friends who are interested in learning Salesforce and to keep up their path, keep up their pace in the Salesforce and ecosystem. So with this, we will wrap up today's video. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.